Good morning and welcome back to the first day of your new school year at the Garibaldi School. I've been really looking forward to this day where we can invite you back into school for the first time in a very long time. For some of you, today's the first time you've stepped foot in school and the school building for the last 6 months. For some of you, today's your very first day at school. For all of you though, today's the first day of being at the Garibaldi School, whereby what we do and how we do things has had to change in response to the worldwide pandemic. Normally, on your first day of school, I look forward to seeing you all personally, welcoming you into the first assembly of the year, where I set out the direction of travel, talk about the successes of the previous year, and detail small changes and tweaks about the way that we do things here. Clearly, I'm unable to lead those assemblies in such a way this year in the format that I would normally do them in. Hence why we've had to pre-record these assemblies. This is, though, a really important assembly where myself and the leadership will highlight some of the changes we've had to make in response to the pandemic and the COVID situation, but also to tweak what we do on our journey to become an amazing school to raise the standards further and therefore improve the outcomes for you. Some of you may be worried about returning to school today. I hope though by the end of your induction sessions you will be more confident in how secure and safe we've tried to make the school. This has been balanced with trying to make sure that you have the most normal experience of school possible, even in these extraordinary circumstances. Some of you, I'm sure, will be excited about coming back to school today, although I'm probably sure you won't want to admit that. I know I'm looking forward to you being back today, as I've already said. The important thing over the next few days is to make sure that you're as well informed as possible so that you know the systems and routines. Please make sure you ask any questions that you may have if you're unsure so we can help you along the way. We'll help and support and educate you on these new systems as they do take some adapting to as we go about our everyday lives. We must look after and support each other to make sure that we do what we need to do, but most importantly that we keep ourselves and each other safe. I will regularly review what we do and how we do it. We've been making plans for your return for a very long time, but there have been lots of changes and U-turns and bends along the way as we've responded to changes from the government based on the scientific advice that they receive. What I will share with you today and what the leadership team will share with you today is based on the most up-to-date information. What you need to know though is that we will have to make some more changes along the way as situation changes, but I will promise to keep you as up-to-date as possible. I do expect that you conduct yourself appropriately and take on board the rules and systems that we've implemented, particularly when it comes to your health and safety. You've got a duty to protect yourself, your peers and the staff. Your staff have worked exceptionally hard on redesigning your lessons to make them engaging and to ensure that we maximise your chances of success, even though you've been off school for such a lengthy period of time. Last year, as you know, Year 11 and Year 13 didn't have the opportunity to sit their exams, and we had to award grades based on teacher assessed grades and the information that we have on the students. Currently, for Year 11 and 13, it is intended that you will still sit your exams. But we've got to be mindful that your exam periods are a long way off in the distant future, and things may change. You must all recognise, though, that no matter what year group you are in, it's really important to do your best. Every lesson counts. Everything that you do will form the evidence that we may need for your exam boards to show what you're capable of. You've got to give 100% every lesson. You've got to be here for 100% of the time. And you've got to have the high standards for yourself. That's your part of the bargain. You all know by now the Garibaldi formula, so you know that I will make sure that every lesson that you get that is taught to you is amazing. And you know that we will give you extraordinary compassion and to support to help you along your way. The timings of the school day are very different depending which bubble you're in. You've got to stick to your bubble, and your mentor will go through this in more information this morning. The timings, your entries, your exit to school, your breaks and lunches, they're all very different. They're at staggered times to keep you safe and within your bubble. You will go to lessons today. This is a really important opportunity to find yourself around the one-way systems that we've had to implement. Please don't take shortcuts or go the wrong way or try and find your friends in other year groups. You've got to keep within your own bubbles. Shortly, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Dawson. He's going to give you some further information relating to some of those changes regarding COVID. Following that, Mr. Hunt's going to talk to you about standards. I'll then hand over to Miss Stevenson, our new assistant head of school, who's going to introduce herself to you and her role in school, and I'm sure we'll all make her feel most welcome over the coming days. This will all be followed up by a more extensive induction by your mentors, who are going to talk to you in more detail about those changes introduced through this assembly. So for now, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Dawson.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to have you back in school. My role in school, as well as being deputy head, is to make sure that you all make as much progress as you can in your time with us. And that's progress in terms of learning and working towards those grades, but also in terms of your attitude to learning, as well as your personal development, so that when you leave us, whether that's at the end of a 5-year or a 7-year journey, you are leaving us to go off to be the most successful adults that you can be, as satisfied and as happy with the lives that you go on to lead, but also that you are well-rounded citizens that are going to contribute to wider society. And what I'd like you to think about at this point, at the start of this year, is that in spite of all the challenges that COVID and the pandemic throws at us, and as anxious and I suppose full of trepidation as you might be about what this year has in store, what I'd like you to do is think about the opportunities that there'll be. And I hope you're excited about being back, seeing friends, seeing your teachers, and actually are ready to learn, make that progress, and continue those steps towards being the most successful adults that you can be, having those full and satisfied lives. What I also want to talk about today is the things that we're putting in place in school that will hopefully keep you and everybody else safe. Clearly, there have been things in the news about what schools have had to do, and obviously the Garibaldi School is no different. So our response is about trying to make sure that school is as normal an experience as it possibly can be. We can't make it completely normal. It is going to feel different, and it's probably already felt different coming into school this morning. The main thing is personal hygiene, and the key part of that is about keeping your hands clean. So you'll have already walked past, I'm sure, lots of hand sanitising stations. They are regularly placed all around school, and sanitising your hands, and every kind of couple of times a day, break times, lunch times, taking the opportunity to actually wash your hands will go a long way to making sure that we can keep everybody safe. What you'll need to do is make sure that you use those hand sanitizers every time you go into classroom, every time you go into a dining area, and also every time you go to the toilet and return to a classroom as well. And again, that is just about making sure that you are keeping yourself and others safe. Teachers will pick you up on some of these things, like not using the hand sanitizer, but that's not to say that it's a telling off. We all need that constant reminder to make sure that these things become habits and that we're able to stick to these things regularly. We've also got, as part of our measures to keep you and everybody safe, guidance in terms of using face masks. And what we've said is that you should wear them around the school site, in those communal areas, in those public areas, particularly in corridors, so that actually we again can keep everybody safe. Because although we've done our best to keep year group bubbles apart, and I'll speak about that in a moment, there will be times where you will come into contact with other students in other year groups. So you can wear your face mask in your lesson if you wish, but you don't have to. You will need, though, to keep your face mask clean. You'll need to look after it. You'll need to make sure that you don't leave it lying around and forget about it. And you'll also need to make sure that you use your face mask sensibly. And again, we will pick you up on that, and we will make sure that you're using those face masks sensibly. So I mentioned year group bubbles. The way that the school timetable has been set up is to make sure that at breaks and lunch times you are kept apart from other year groups. We've got our staggered starts for the start of the day and to the end of the day, which means that at any one point we don't have as many students leaving the school site. That allows you to get off the school site safely and to make your way home as quickly as possible to avoid that kind of wider contact with other students and other year groups. You'll have already hopefully found out where your lunch and break space will be. It will either be the hub or the hall, and whichever one it is, you'll have a dedicated toilet block which you'll be able to use during that break and lunchtime, and you'll also have some dedicated outdoor space, which will be a space where you can go outside, get some fresh air, and hopefully, if it's not pouring down with rain, kind of enjoy that outside space where you wouldn't necessarily have to then have your face mask on. We've also made sure that we've got minimal contact in the corridors. We're quite lucky because most of our classrooms you can access from external doors. So what we've also done is brought in a one-way system. And this has been clearly marked out, and it will take some getting used to, because it is going to mean a longer journey from one lesson to another than might ordinarily be the case. But please stick to that one-way system. Again, you will be pulled up on it if you're not using it, and you do need to make sure that you stick to that system. We as staff will make sure we stick to that system to set the good example as well. At the start and end of the day, when you come in at those staggered intervals, you'll also have a designated entrance. So sixth form students, they will be coming in through the sixth form entrance. And then we've also got different year groups using either the main pedestrian entrance or the driveway, which is the other side of the hub. So again, please stick to the correct entryway. To help us, to help you get it right and stick to those year group bubbles, what we've done is given you wristbands. So every year group has got a coloured wristband, and those wristbands will help us identify if people are making a mistake or if people are actually deliberately trying to get away with it. We've got to do this again for your safety and the safety of everybody else. What we've got to do is get into those good habits. Everything that we're doing in terms of those COVID safety measures is about keeping you safe. So whether it's making sure that you sanitize your hands every time you go into that classroom, remembering to sanitize again when you come back from the toilet, if it's remembering your wristband in the morning to make sure that you've got it, all of those things taken together will make sure that we can keep each other safe. So thanks for listening.
Good morning and welcome back to school from me. It's not only high expectations with regard to outcomes that we have for the students at the Garibaldi School, we have very high standards and expectations in terms of your conduct whilst you're studying with us. And it's my job as one of the senior leadership team to make sure that all students are meeting those high standards and high expectations. I'm going to touch on a few of those things during this assembly, but your mentor will give you more details when they discuss them with you later on. The first thing I want to mention is your attendance. It's vitally important you're at school, and we know, and we've shared that with you in the past, that if you have excellent attendance and excellent attitude to learning, you will get great outcomes. So we're setting everybody that challenge of being here 100% of the time. We have new members of staff in school who will work with you if attendance is proving challenging, and again, you will get more details on that. And when you are present, you need to look smart. We have high standards and high expectations with regard to uniform. Generally, 99% of the school students look absolutely fantastic, meeting all of the requirements in terms of uniform. But again, there are a few people where they fall slightly short. We will be discussing that with you. All right, we will be asking you to meet those expectations that we have. Okay, and you might need to make some changes to ensure that you do meet those standards. Again, your mentor will keep an eye on your uniform and advise and guide and support you with regard to what we expect. New for this year is a slightly different version of the non-negotiables. You should be familiar with those, okay, but there are some changes to them. The non-negotiables are the very basic expectations that we have in terms of the things that we would expect from you whilst you're in school. They're very simple, very straightforward, and very easy for you to adhere to. So again, your mentor will go through with you the non-negotiables whilst you're in school. If you have any questions about them, this is your opportunity to do that, because all members of staff will make reference to them when they are speaking to you. We've made some changes to consequences. So if you were a student who for some reason was removed from a lesson, you will end up having a 1-hour detention with the lead teacher from the department you were removed from. That's quite a significant change to how it's been in the past. Again, this won't affect the majority of students because they're not removed from lessons. They're in lessons, working hard on the tasks and the challenges that are set by their teachers. Again, your mentors will give you more information about how that's going to work. We've also increased slightly the amount of time somebody might spend in a C5 detention on a Friday afternoon. Again, it will affect a minority of students, but please be aware of that. There's also some new initiatives to help and support you in terms of raising standards and expectations. The first one are our conduct cards. These work closely with the school's non-negotiables. Mentors will give you details, but in summary, any member of staff at any time can ask to see your conduct card and make comment on it. Those comments might be good comments because they've seen or heard you do something they actually think is noteworthy. Unfortunately, they may ask to see your conduct card because you've done something that is in breach of the non-negotiables. It could be something as simple as not having your shirt tucked in. It might be that you displayed some very negative manners. So again, your mentors will discuss those things with you. They will lead to further sanction should you be somebody that gets lots of negative comments on that conduct card. What I must repeat is it's vitally important that those conduct cards are with you at all times. You will be asked by members of staff like myself and all other members of staff across the school to see that conduct card at any time, and you must present it. Think of it as being part of the uniform. It must be with you. It should fit neatly in the blazer pocket. So again, have it with you at all times. A further and significant change that we've made is with regard to mobile phones. You are permitted to bring your mobile phone to school, but you're not permitted to have it out at any time. That means that at break times and at lunch times, as you walk across the school site, across the yard or down a corridor, your mobile phone cannot be used. That is a significant change. We've done that for a number of different reasons. Again, your mentor will explain these. Primarily, it's about safeguarding everybody on the school site. We all know the capabilities of a mobile phone, and we need to make sure that people aren't using them to cause harm or distress to any other students or members of staff. It's a significant change. It's one that you will have to adapt to, but we welcome your support in meeting all of these initiatives to help raise standards and expectations.
Hi, I'm Miss Stevenson and I'm the new Assistant Head of School here at the Garibaldi School. I'm really looking forward to meeting all of you and getting to know you. And if you're not in one of my science classes, I'm sure I'll be meeting you when I come into your classrooms all around the school. And that's because one of my main roles here is to support you and your teachers and to work with people outside of the school to help make teaching and learning amazing in every subject all of the time. And it's really important to me that you are part of the work that I do this year. I'll be looking to you to help us understand what really works well in lessons, what engages you, and how your teachers help you to reflect on your learning and move you forward so that you can reach your potential in each and every lesson.
And finally from me, welcome back again. I'm really pleased to have you back, and I look forward to coming round to classes to see you personally. Please keep safe, work hard, and ensure that you respect yourself and others. Have a great day, and thanks for listening.